Hello everyone, in this video I will present basic security concepts. Now I will do this in such a way that you don't actually require any prior knowledge in computer or cybersecurity and that you will understand the essential concepts well enough so that you can go away and think about it or maybe read up on the topics elsewhere. So you basically have a head start after watching this video and can then learn more for yourself independently. In the video, I will talk about what we call the main goals of computer security, the concept of threats, vulnerabilities and controls, as well as what I refer to as the basic security methodology. If you like this video and want to be kept up to date with future ones, press the like button and subscribe to my channel. Have fun! So, when we try to define what computer security wants to achieve, it turns out that there are precisely three goals, the three so-called main goals in computer security, abbreviated by CIA. So here C stands for confidentiality, I for integrity, and A for availability. Let me explain this briefly. Confidentiality is the prevention of unauthorized access to our assets, so the things that you care about, the things that you want to protect. Furthermore, integrity is about preserving the assets, so to prevent a modification, a change of the assets. Availability is simply about those assets being available to authorized parties or to yourself. And this terminology is literally like a standard. Everyone talks about this nowadays in papers, books, blogs, both in academia and industry. But it's also important to realize that we cannot possibly guarantee security. In reality, the best we can do is to minimize the risk of an incident. This is why I need to explain some more terminology so that we can more precisely define what we mean by risk. So in this slide, I will talk about the central concepts of threat, vulnerability, risk, and control. Let's start with the definition of a threat. A threat is basically a set of circumstances that might lead to an attack on your assets, creating harm. We also say that an attack is a threat event. The attack is the thing that happens to you and your assets. The threat is just a description of the danger of it happening. In cybersecurity, trying to understand the current threats to your system or organization is an incredibly important task, and people earn a lot of money by doing this. On the other hand, you must not confuse threats with vulnerabilities. A vulnerability is a loophole, a potential weakness in your system that could be exploited by an attack. If there aren't any threats, it's not a problem to have vulnerabilities. On the other hand, if your system is entirely protected without any weaknesses, you wouldn't have to worry about the threats. But in reality, there will always be both around. And what you need to do is to figure out what the risk is. The risk occurs if the threats are matching corresponding vulnerabilities. And now we have all the ingredients together to understand the basic security methodology. This is like a recipe. You need to follow it to produce the desired outcome of establishing security for a system, organization, or your own personal data, for example. So how should you proceed? It's kind of like a loop, a repeating process, cycling through the different steps continuously as technology evolves and new threats are created and your system is changing over time. So we start by detecting open holes in your system, the uncovered vulnerabilities. For example, you could do a vulnerability assessment activity or carry out a survey on your employees about their good use of passwords. As the next step, we need to think about the threats out there and to what extent they are relating to the vulnerabilities. Sometimes you might want to do this in a different order, so you can start with a threat analysis followed by vulnerability assessment. This all depends on the nature of your system and your strategy. And lastly, you will then be able to implement suitable countermeasures, the controls, based on the information that you have gathered in the previous two steps. And then, as I said, you have to go back to the beginning for the very reasons that I have already mentioned earlier. This is the periodic review that you need to undertake. So in summary, we've covered the basic security concepts of CIA, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We have talked about threats, vulnerabilities, risks, and controls. We've also discussed the basic security methodology. Now, there's obviously much more out there on the topic of security, but really these are the crucial main principles. If you understand them well, you'll be able to talk about security more confidently and convincingly to your friends or to a prospective employer. In a future video, I will show you how you can analyze news items about security incidents using these basic security concepts in order to understand the scenario and the security implications better. Thanks for watching this video.